Greetings, hi, hello. I'm Rebekkah, and you saw the title. This shit ain't some funny shit. This is, I don't even know what this is. Try to stop smoking before bed because it gets rid of my dreams. I really want my dreams back. Also stressed, so here we are. Is that responsible? Nah. Is that healthy? Not necessarily. Just keeping it 100. I don't want to promote the idea that every time you have feelings you should smoke weed so you don't have to deal with them, because that's stupid. This joint, as much as I love joints, it's like rolled way too tight, so I think I'm just gonna throw it in this pipe. Oh, look at her. Look at you. Come here. I know you want pets. I know you do. Aww. For those of you who don't know, I'm 23 years old. I lost my first friend at 19. We hadn't talked in a while. I don't remember how long before. It wasn't right before or anything, before she died. But a little while before, I had hit her up, like, wanting to catch up or something, but the page I found with her name had, like, barely any friends and, like, no profile picture, but it was also, like, from the same city, so I figured, like, oh, she just made a Facebook and never uses it. And at the time, it was the only social media I used. I didn't use anything else, and there wasn't much else. This was 4 years ago, when I was 19. She never responded. I don't even know if she ever saw it. I feel like if she had seen it, she would have replied, unless she just forgot. Like, it was always good vibes, nothing bad happened, but, we hadn't talked in a while just because we ended up going to different middle and high schools. But in 5th grade, we were best friends. Her name was Lorena. Like, in 5th grade, we were just inseparable, dude. Were we in Girl Scouts together? Of course we were in Girl Scouts together, because my other friend that I went to her memorial with knew her too. Wow, I'm becoming an adult and forgetting major parts of my childhood. That's interesting. So, yeah, we were inseparable best friends in 5th grade. We were just so tight. We went to the after-school program together, and we took the bus together, and we would always play together, and we were doing all kinds of imagination. We would, like, play this island game where we would, like, section off this corner of the field with a jump rope, and then we would, like, pretend we were on this island, and that we had to, like, do all this stuff for survival, and we'd, like, crush up rocks and be like, this is the salt for our steak that we're gonna eat. Just pretend. It was super fun. We did that so much. We listened to music on her iPod Nano. I remember she played me that song about banana pancakes from Jack Johnson? Is that who it is? I'll put the song here. We listened to the Hairspray soundtrack so much. We both loved Hairspray. We both loved Zac Efron. Anyways, she died in a car accident. I heard it was pretty bad. My brain tends to imagine the worst, and that's become a pattern with death. Like, I just have trouble imagining bad things. I don't know. I'm sure there are other people who deal with that, but I really struggle with it. It kind of haunts me. Went to her memorial with my friend, who I'm not gonna name. But at the time, she was still, like, kind of in her addiction. This was, like, right before she got sober, actually. And she asked me if I wanted to do Xanax, and I had never done Xanax before. And I had tried, like, some other pill. My other friend, who also died, and we'll get to that, strangely enough, I'd already tried a pill with her once at a sleepover, and I had wanted to try Xanax because I'd heard of it, and so I took one, and she took one, and then she, like, mixed one up in her drink, too. I think I just had 1.5, that was it, because, like, she didn't finish her drink, and I was like, dude, you put drugs in that drink, you're gonna leave it? And I chugged it, which is stupid. Every other drug I've ever done, I researched it so much before ever trying it, and with Xanax, I just didn't at all. So she was like, whoa, slow down, like, you've never even done this before, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna let you waste that, like, you drink it, and she was like, no, I'm done, and then I was like, well, I'm drinking it, which is such addict behavior if we're keeping it 100, and then I was acting really drunk, I learned, and I couldn't tell, but, like, someone was like, when we get in the car, like, just don't say anything, literally just, like, go to sleep, take a nap, sleep this off, dude. And I was like, okay. I went home. I was living with my mom and her fiance at the time, and my mom just assumed I was drunk. All I remember is coming home and like saying hi to the dogs and saying hi to my mom and Christy, and then I thought I just went upstairs and went to bed because I don't remember anything after that, but apparently I was talking to them, I was like up doing stuff, I was walking around, like having conversations, like cooked and ate a fucking meal. When I came down the next morning, my mom was like, "You got drunk, huh?" I don't even remember if I told her the truth at that time or later, but she knows now that it was Xanax. But yeah, that was my first friend who died. We hadn't been close in years, so I did cry a little, but it was just so surreal. I couldn't get the image of her just being splattered in like a horrendous car accident like out of my head. I can still see it. I don't even know if it was nearly that bad, but I'm just picturing literally the worst. And then a couple years ago, I had a really good friend named Caleb. He was an addict. We were friends since he was in middle school. We met like, I think it was my freshman year. We were freshmen and he was a 7th grader. We met through marching band. He was a trumpet too. We all played trumpet. He had a crush on me and my other friend, Mare, because we were girls who were a little older and we were hanging out with him and like inviting him to the state fair with us, but like he was cool too. He was a homie. He only smoked weed at that time, and I was even surprised. I was like, "Dude, you smoke weed? You're in 7th grade." And he was like, "Yeah, dude, I toke." And I was like, "Alright, well, don't smoke too much." I feel like I heard he was doing harder stuff, or I knew he was doing harder stuff. I don't really remember. I knew he drank a lot. We had hung out a few times, but then when he was like, I think a freshman in high school, so I was a junior, like me and Mare hadn't heard from him for like a year or something, like almost a year, maybe a little over a year, but it was a long time. And he had gone to this camp, this like cowboy camp to help like troubled kids like get their anger out and like stop acting out negative ways and put it towards something positive. It's really cool. And he went to that for a long time, for like months and months. And then when he finally came back, because I remember I texted him, I was like, "Did you die, dude? Like, I hope you're okay. I haven't heard from you in like a year, but I really just hope you're okay." And then he finally hit me back up when he got out of this camp. And he invited me to come smoke in the middle of the night. And we had a moment where like we hugged and like there was a little tension because like he'd hit puberty and like he was taller than me now and he was like looking fine, you know what I mean? Like if I'm keeping it 100, but we didn't kiss or anything, but later he like texted me that he wanted to kiss. But see, the thing, he was always an addict, and so there was always a little bit of like, it wasn't sexual. I feel like it was much more emotional than sexual, honestly. Even if he never would have said that, it was definitely like an emotional tension, a romantic tension. I think he dropped out of school like his sophomore year or something. Like I think as soon as he was old enough. There was this period where like multiple times a week, like I would just go out between like midnight and 2 in the morning and we would meet at this like elevated wood place in like in an area where people keep their horses, and he worked there, so that's why he knew about it. He worked taking care of horses, right? He like did that camp and everything and learned how to do that. We would hang out in this place and like we would smoke out of all these crazy different pieces and just get high and talk and hang out, always in the middle of the night, because I was like at school and like I don't know what he was out doing. Sometimes we'd hang out in his backyard too. But we had to be really quiet and like secretive about that. That's why we started going other places in the middle of the night, because we didn't have to worry about like, if I'm gonna sneak in and we have to be quiet, he might as well just sneak out so we can be like loud. There was one time on this playground, we got drunk on like Jägermeister. We were sitting outside and he just cried to me, and we both cried to each other about how we didn't want to end up addicts like our parents. And he told me that like his dad hit him and stuff, and I don't know, it was just like a really vulnerable moment. And then I don't know, I just asked him if I could kiss him and he said yeah, and so I kissed him. And then when we left that night, like we had like a longer kiss. We never kissed again. Like I think we were both just waiting for each other to take it to that place again, but I think also deep down I knew that I couldn't be with him because he was going down that path, and I just wasn't ready for a relationship. And as time went on, it just got worse. He was doing all kinds of stuff, selling all kinds of stuff. He was the plug. Like, he wasn't the ultimate plug of like all of Phoenix, but like he was a plug. Like, if you needed anything, you would hit him up. I told him to be careful. I always told him, like, hey, if you ever want to like go to meetings, like AA, NA, like, let's go. Like, I'd love to. My mom talked to him when she met him a couple times, I think, and offered to like go to meetings with him or something. And then one day, I was gonna buy weed from him, and I went to his house, and he said he was gonna be there. Like, I had asked him if I could buy weed from him, and then he was like, well, I'm only selling 50 and up now. And I was like, really? Like, am I a customer to you? Like, I thought we were friends. Like, I thought, because like I said, like, years had gone by since that kiss happened. Like, it really, as he became more of an addict, of course I was like, no offense, but less attracted to that, because it was just like, oh yeah, I could never be with this guy. Like, whatever connection there might be, it's a friendship. Anyways, so I finally, like, once I said that, I was like, you're really gonna treat me like a customer instead of a friend? Like, you can't just sell a couple grams to, like, your friend who you've known since you were in middle school, because you only sell over 50, and then he was like, okay, well, yeah, I just don't want everyone doing that. And I was like, then don't tell anybody. You don't have to tell the world that you sold me 2 grams. Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, okay, yeah, come over, whatever. And so I came over, and he wasn't there, and he kept saying, like, I'll be right there, and, like, I was like, how long? And then he'd be like, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, sorry, and coming up with excuses. And then finally, like, a little over an hour went by, and I was like, well, okay, fuck this, I'm leaving. And then I'm, like, skating home, and like right as I'm leaving his complex, and then he was like, no, I just got there, like, I'm walking up to the house now. And I was like, I kind of snapped, because some stuff like this had been happening, and I was like, fuck this, dude. Like, I'm your friend, I'm not a customer. I really don't like how you're treating me like just a fucking wad of cash, and like treating me like my time doesn't matter. Like, I have shit to do today. Like, I honestly don't know if I had that much important shit to do, but like, I didn't want to spend my time waiting around for someone who said they were gonna be there when I showed up. I've tried to like help you, and like as you get more and more into this world, into this addiction, like I've told you, like, be careful, like, and I can see you fucking changing. I went off on him basically. I was like, it's because you're a fucking addict. And he was like, obviously saying like, no, he's not. And it's like, yes, you are. Like, you've admitted it to me. And so then we didn't talk after that, and then he died. The story I heard was that, I'm sure he was intoxicated on something while this was going on, because it's so stupid. His friend had an unloaded gun and was jokingly shooting himself in the head, because that's a great thing to do. And then Caleb copied him, but his gun was loaded. And that's how he died. With that, obviously I cried right away, because we were way closer friends. We used to be really, really close. Didn't get to go to his funeral because I had moved to Santa Fe by then. The next time I went to Phoenix, I tried to go to that spot where we used to smoke, and it was like dilapidated and broken down and closed off, and it kind of broke me, because I was just so angry and just full of rage about him dying. And then on the way, literally driving to Juliet's house, like, we're all in 2 different cars, our group of friends, the squad. My friends in the car behind us, like, this car in front of us did something, and then this truck started to like tip over something, or they were like moving to the side, and then like my friends somehow ended up like spinning out on this bridge going at least like 50 an hour. Not a scratch, not a dent on anyone. Not all the cars behind them, literally like not a scratch or a dent. Everyone was fine, and like it was really intense, dude. Like, we got out, we all cried, we were like grateful that everyone was like, it was Like, they spun around, did a 360 in this enclosed concrete tunnel. Oh my gosh. The only reason I mention that, like, it is a weird thing, but, like, this time my friend died recently, like, it's a parallel. So anyways, that's the story of Caleb. Like a week and a half ago, my friend Callan died. I had like my best acid trip ever the night before. Like, he dropped me off at the Starbucks by my work, like 20 minutes before work. I wait in line, get my drink. I'm waiting for my drink, scrolling through Instagram, and then I see a RIP, like an RIP post for her, and I was like, wait, what the fuck? And then I called Juliet, and I was like FaceTiming her, just like, what the fuck? Like, trying to process this, like, is this even real? Like, this has to be some sort of mistake. And then as I got my drink, I was starting to cry, and then I was like bawling like 10 minutes before I had to go into work. And then I went home early that day. Like, I went and got a drink at the Buffalo Wild Wings right next to my work. You know, just one. I just really wanted a drink, and it was a little stronger than I wanted, actually. I got the wrong thing, and I was like, ugh, can I get like Sprite to mix with this? This is intense. It was just like a cup of bourbon muddled with like delicious stuff, but it was just bourbon. Not my vibe. Anyways, so then I went and got some like fake press-on nails, because I felt like I've been wanting fake nails for a while. I missed them, and I didn't, well, also God didn't want me to do something that would damage my nails like acrylic, so I did press-ons, and I thought Callan would think they were cute. I thought they were cute. Yeah, I've known her since high school. Maybe like my junior year of high school is when we first like started talking, and that's the year I dropped out, so we didn't start hanging out till I dropped out of high school. So I didn't know her as long as Caleb, but we were also pretty close too, in a different way. Me and her and this other friend, we hung out, like a little trio of us, a lot for a while. It was really cool. We had sleepovers and, you know, did makeup, girly stuff, like popped pills once or twice too, so that's when I first heard doing that, like prescription pills. Like, that's the first time and only time I ever did them, and or times I should say, because there were a couple, I think, except for Lorena's funeral. I need some water. Hey, chunky boy. Oh. He's my little chunky fluff. Anyways, I was talking about Callan. It's stormy. Our lighting's been weird recently. When I was like 18, 19, me and Callan were our closest, I think, maybe a little bit of 20. She had some beef with my best friend, and we also just had our situations where I guess I feel like I saw some of her character flaws, and I started to distance myself. Also because, again, addiction, and like, I tried to offer help, but she also, I don't even remember now, it clearly wasn't like the biggest deal. I just remember there were a lot of little things of her like getting into her addiction and stuff, and then she also like kind of stopped talking to me as much, but I was also being kind of an asshole on Facebook, so like maybe that played a role, maybe it didn't, but I feel like if it did, that would have been valid, but at the time I like was offended. Chip, that hurts. Get out of here, dude. So anyways, for whatever reasons, I distanced myself. Mainly the core ones were sometimes she would lie, sometimes she would talk about friends behind their backs and cause conflicts, and she also liked to steal your man, which she never tried to steal mine, but I could just see her going down that same path as Caleb. And so I did distance myself, but I always checked up on her. I always like hit her up and was every now and then, not all the time, but like every now and then be like, hey, like, hope you're doing well. And like, I kept my distance, but I always wanted her to know that I was there rooting for her, supporting her, sending love her way, thinking of her. When we were closer, we also had like a bit of a lesbian moment in which I realized I was straight, and I think she was kind of bummed about it, but that's okay. Again, just meant to be friends. But I skipped out on church last week. I found out a few days before church, like a couple days before, and I just slept till noon. I blew it off. I haven't been obeying God as much recently. I'm getting back on it now, the past like 3 days, 2 or 3 days. I've been getting back on it. Honestly, leading up to this, I was already kind of disobeying him for a couple weeks. Just not obeying him as much. And then when this happened, it was just like, I've been feeling really unmotivated. I've been feeling like giving up on things that God wants me to do, huge projects that he wants me working on. Sorry, I felt something on my foot. I keep losing my train of thought. This one's harder to talk about. But yeah, so just been feeling kind of down. I haven't been motivated. I can't remember the last time I picked up and really practiced my guitar. It was at least 2 weeks ago, I think. I don't even want to play Minecraft. Not doing what God wants me to do because it's just a lot in a short amount of time, and I just don't see how it's gonna happen, and I'm losing some faith, honestly. And then I made myself go to church this morning. God really wanted me to. He wanted me to bring these cookies that I'm trying to sell so I can go to Colombia, but I'm supposed to raise $1,000 in like 2 weeks, basically. I've just been not doing my part, and I just feel like I want to give up on that. Take the L. I don't know if I'm going to. We'll see. Like 2 or 3 nights after I found out she died, I was, again, feeling very angry, very rageful, very just angry. And I left work an hour early. They let me go home. So grateful for my bosses. Thank you, Jesus. Oh my gosh, they're such a blessing. They've been so empathetic and accommodating and understanding about me grieving. And so they let me go home an hour early. This guy, medium story short, he came onto the property and I asked him to leave, and I let him get between me and the door, and he, like, you know those standing ashtrays, the metal ones, like, well, you can take the lid off and pull an entire, like, container, just this giant metal rectangle, like, as long as the thing, out, and that's where they all fall into. That's how they dump them out. And so he did that on our benches, and then he threw it at me and missed, and then he, like, ripped the handle off my bag, and then he, like, hit me in the face, but, like, my bike helmet was on, and so he just, like, hit my helmet, and then, like, he was, like, shoving me, and then I remembered that before I even confronted him, I had put mace in my hand, but it's, like, fight, flight, or freeze, and I was, like, frozen for a second, because he wasn't really hurting me either. I was just like, is this really happening right now? I was so pissed. I was over it. So then I remembered I had pepper spray, and so I pepper sprayed him in the face while calling 911. The reason that I told you that thing about my friends crashing is because, like, both times with these deaths of close friends, I hit the point in the grieving process where I'm really angry, and it's, like, consuming my existence. I can't escape it, it feels like. And then something that puts mine or a loved one's safety at risk happens, and, like, we're strangely okay when normally when a crazy person throws metal at you and hits you in the face, like, you get hurt. But literally, like, he missed everything. Like, everything he did was, like, lame and stupid, and I just pepper sprayed him in the face. Like, my friends just 360ing in an enclosed space at, like, 50 miles an hour with, like, packed traffic, like, not a scratch, not a dent. Like, I don't understand. Like, and both times it just completely snapped me out of my rage and into a state of gratefulness. And I know that's because God is doing this, and I know it's because he knows I need help, and he's doing something intense to protect me, but also to severely remind me, like, seriously, intensely remind me, like, I need to be grateful. I need to be grateful, and I'm just struggling with it right now. But I'm doing better now. Church this morning was hard. It was good. It was great. And then it sucked. Worship was great. It was, like, really healing, and, like, I was even able to, like, pray for someone else because I was in a better place, and I was feeling so much lighter, and I was feeling just a little bit of the peace of God. I was able to let some of God's peace into me, and that was so hard. The message was great. I was loving it. And then the pastor started talking about death. And I was like, ugh, and like how you need to cherish every day. And I was like, oh gosh, I really needed to come today. That's why God wanted me to come. Like, he also wanted me to sell my cookies to go to Colombia, but I didn't bring them. I kind of pussied out on that one. But then, because most people aren't in the process of grieving a fresh death, like, death is a heavy topic, and so it makes sense that people would want to laugh about it. He didn't make overly offensive jokes. It's just, he was lightheartedly talking about death, and people were, like, laughing, and it wasn't anything grossly offensive. Like, I'm just so sensitive about it right now that, like, I started crying under my poncho, and then the lady next to me is so sweet. She's such a sweet lady. She's amazing. I love her worship. She gave me these tissues, and for the first time in a long time, I remembered how when I'm overwhelmed, how the shutdown happens, and it's not healthy. It's not the right solution. I wanted to go back in there and talk to somebody, I think the pastor, but I just didn't want to deal with it, because as soon as I stopped myself from crying and he was finishing, I just would not even look at him. I was literally, my arms were crossed under my poncho, but I just literally sat there tapping my foot. I wouldn't even look at him. But yeah, I just shut down. He made a joke about, like, morticians, and all I could picture was, like, Callan's lifeless, slowly rotting body, like, pumped full of chemicals, like a mortician, like, sewing her mouth shut from the inside, because unfortunately I know what they do, because I follow this mortician on YouTube, because I find it fascinating when I'm not, like, grieving. Not like she can feel it, but it's just nasty. You don't want to picture anyone like that, especially your beautiful young 20-year-old friend who wanted to be a mom and wanted to get sober. She was trying to get sober. Might have been fentanyl, might have been on purpose, might have been accidental overdose. It was an overdose. Did I say that? That's how she died. This is an oversharing video. That's okay. I'm gonna edit a lot of it out, and, you know, I know this might sound weird, but I kind of like going back and watching my videos. You know, I want viewers too. Like, that'd be cool. Like, I really hope I can hit 100 subscribers. That'd be so cool. We're at 81 right now. I've been growing every time I upload a video recently. Even that Alexis Stone one, even though the like to dislike, like, the stands came even to Lil Ol Me's video. 7 dislikes, 5 likes. This has been weighing on my heart, and I do want to put this up here, because I think I'll want to look back on this eventually one day. Future Rebekkah, I hope you're doing better, queen. Come here. Come here. Oh, I love you, Future Rebekkah. Whenever I watch that, I'm going to feel obligated to hug the screen back and be like, I love you too, Past Becca. I'm sure you're doing better in the future. Like, it's been 2 years since Caleb, and you were feeling better until this happened. Let's hope that, someone else isn't fucking dead. And if they are, I'm sorry that I just brought it up. Girl, come here. It's gonna be okay. I hope if you've lost somebody, that this helped you in some way, feel like not alone or something, or just help you process your emotions somehow. I don't know if it could. I feel like it might be able to. Anything's possible, right? Whoa. Oh shit, there was a bug. I was right. Remember when I thought there was a bug on my foot? There was a bug on my foot. It's a little stink beetle. They've been coming in a lot because it's fall and it's getting rainy and cold outside, and they're, like, hiding in our house. That's New Mexico for you. And, you know, if you've never lost somebody, get ready, because it's gonna happen. Unless you die first. Please don't die first. Please just, everyone stop dying. Jesus. But yeah, if you've never lost somebody, just know that it never stops hurting, and you can't really be prepared for it, but learn the stages of grief now. I'll have a link in the description if you happen to. I feel like it's something a lot of people know, but if you haven't, I don't know who's watching this, know them now, so that when you feel crazy and fucked up about grieving and you feel like, God, this is, like, unbearable, you can remember, oh yeah, this is, like, something that everyone goes through. It's just really fucking intense. But it gets easier over time. It gets easier over time. But it never stops sucking, that's for sure, and it always makes you sad when you think of that person. Even if it can grow to be bittersweet, The sadness never goes away. If you watch this whole thing, wow, God bless you. Thanks, fam. You're a queen. You're a king. Like, you're a non-binary royalty, alright? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm pretty sure it's this way, because last time I did this way, and I'm pretty sure that was wrong. Like, dislike. If you dislike this, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be a little salty. Like, maybe just let me have my, like, video diary 2019 sad girl moment. It's sad girl hours. We're out here, alright? Let me be a sad girl. It's 2019. What am I even saying? I'm baked. It's raining. Ooh. This is good vibes, man. Oh. Bye. My little chippy chip. Oh, careful, don't use your claws for balance. You know this. Mwah. Such a precious boy. Ugh, you're drooling so much, but I love you. Always with the butthole. Him and his butthole, man. He loves throwing it. He will lay on your chest and just lay with his asshole in your face. He thinks he can get away with it, and every time I just shove him off. I'm like, nah. You're not getting on the lap, buddy. You're so distracting. No, look at him. Chip. So anyways, oh my gosh. What is up with you? He's literally such a good boy. Look at him. He's just chilling. He's like, all right. No. No.